masters those technologies, in some way, will be the master of the world.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. As the saying goes, you have to know the rules in order to break them. Meaning, the government had given away its power to control their own economy to a private institution. Yes, you heard that right. The Federal Reserve is not federal at all. It is a private institution controlled by the most powerful bankers in America. The guy who architected the creation of the Federal Reserve was a Rockefeller. To quote Henry Kissinger in 1970, who controls the food supply controls the people, who controls the energy can control whole continents, and who controls money can control the world. The government and the politicians are never the ones in charge. They are simply a mere puppet for the puppet masters. Or this isn't about petty politics, this is about something much deeper. It's 2030, the year the World Economic Forum's predictions all come true. You own nothing, and you're happy. Secret organization that controls 95% of the world's GDP. And today we pull back the curtain on the elites to find out exactly what their plan is. It started this entire dystopian initiative they call the Great Reset. That in mind, it's awfully convenient that this book was released in July of 2020. I mean, great timing for a 280-page book to come out just a few months after C-19 started and the whole world locked down. I mean, of course, I'm not suggesting that they began writing this book before the crisis because that would get me canceled. But find or create a crisis and exploit the living hell out of it. You see, in the last few years, we've seen two structural changes. Number one, there's been a massive move away from cash. And number two, there's been ever-increasing centralization. Why are the puppet masters so against cash? Because cash is freedom. With cash, you have complete autonomy and they have no control. Your CBDCs will be programmable. And let's get back to that in just a moment. But with the introduction of a CBDC, the government will keep track of all transactions with that currency. There will be no transparency and there will be no anonymity. Instead, all the power will be given to the government. So what does that mean in practice? Maybe you tell a friend you dislike something about them, and now your social credit score, well, it goes down. And now you can't get approved for your next rental agreement. And your electric car will only function for a few hours during the day. And because you've been a bad little slave, your money can only be spent on necessities. The puppet masters are only able to have that level of control because they know everything about you. They can only control where and how you spend the money they give you because it's programmable. Not only that, they will force you to spend it, otherwise inflation will just eat it away. You see, your CBDC account will have a negative interest rate, forcing you to spend artificially, inflating the economy. There will come a day in the next 2 years where your money is really no longer your own. You will have no control over it, and you won't be able to save, so you will forever live under their thumb. Don't take it from me, because during the course of my investigation, I found documents proving that the central bankers are planning on implementing negative interest rates to stimulate forced spending. That means your money will not be yours, and if you don't spend it the way they want you to, well then, it'll just disappear. Why? Because the puppet masters don't want you to save. If you save, you gain leverage over them, and you're harder to influence. That's the end of the era of free will. That's what the puppet masters have in store for you, and they don't even try to hide it. I mean, perhaps Harari wasn't such a savory character after all. You see, that's what their plan is. These people don't think you're valuable. They see you as a product of their indoctrination, and you are below them. Now here's where things start to really get concerning. Schwab ends the book by saying that the reset isn't done yet. So I had to figure out what was the missing part, which will complete the reset and lead to a world where you'll have no choice but to be 100% under the puppet master's control. Own nothing and be happy is what they tell you. But of course, someone then has to own everything. Introducing the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank of central banks, controlling 95% of global GDP. Every economically significant central bank in the world is a member. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where money comes from.
The central bank will have absolute control